Hi, I'm James the Light Guy, and today we're taking a look at another set of LED replacement headlight bulbs. Today's bulbs are from Easy Eagle, and they are in the H11 bulb type. Opening the box, we get a product manual. We've seen these in a few of the other ones. Basic specifications, CSP chip, voltage input, basic installation instructions. These are H11s. Little notes, and then more languages. Fairly basic. Toss that aside. Take a look at the bulbs. Alright, you also get two bulbs in the box. Starting at the electrical connector, I must say that personal bias, I love the black and orange color scheme, as you may have noticed from my channel. Let's get in real close and take a look at these. Looks like marked as positive and negative. Basic H11 connector. Fairly sturdy. Not much in strain relief because that is very sturdy as opposed to the flex of the wire sheath here. But it is a braided nylon sheath, so that will protect the wires fairly well. We get another wire lock at the end here with our brain box. $16,000 lumen. Well, we can test that in our light box. Here we see 2020 variant, manufactured in March. We got H11 6000K. Again, minimal strain relief. We're relying heavily on that braided nylon sheath to protect the wires. Very small heat sink with a cooling fan at the back, but there's a fair amount of surface area made by these different machining patterns, or rather extrusion patterns here. Appears to be aluminum with a stamped metal shroud. We have the bulb base, which is H11. It is screwed in place here. Looks like, yep, it does come with an Allen key if you wanted to remove that screw. However, it's not really necessary on an H11 bulb, as it has to be twisted to insert it in the housing. So really, there's not a whole lot of point. You can see how it would slide on and is retained by this pin here and on the opposite side. Moving up, we can see that the center shaft is in a clamshell here. One side wraps around 3/4, and then this inner face is held on with two fasteners. It appears to be more aluminum. Everything is powder coated with that lovely gold shine, which may help with the blind spots, as you can see here. And our CSP chips, two of them on opposite sides. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit here. Turn down the brightness. There we go. See, they're lovely little chips. This one's not as centered in the window as the other one, but I believe that's negligible. You can see here that our board has a copper substrate. that will help transfer heat down the shaft to the cooling fan. Let's zoom back out, zoom out again. Let's hook one of these up to our power supply and see what kind of current it draws. Alright, you can see at 14.4 volts, we're drawing 2.3 amps, and that's dropping. There's that dead spot. It's actually not as noticeable as I had expected. More so on this end as it's thicker here. But ideally when you install it, you would figure out which side would be best in the housing to reduce that shadow in the beam pattern. It's already getting kind of warm. We'll see how these chips hold up. I gotta say, that doesn't look like 16,000 lumens to me, but let's grab our light box and take a look. Alright, we are in times 10. We will start at the greatest blind spot with the cord facing in toward the sensor. We'll rotate it 180 to the next blind spot and then look at straight on. You can see here the greatest blind spot. We're at about 350 lux. Spin that 180. We've jumped up to about 400, give or take, for 380, 370. We'll call it 370 now that it's stabilized. And now we'll rotate 90 degrees. We have a peak of 1206. That's not bad. Not great, but not bad. The fan is not super loud. I'll hold it up to the microphone. Inside your engine bay, this probably wouldn't be heard at all. Let me pause for a moment and grab a housing. Okay, the first housing we have is this reflector housing. It is from a 2016 Subaru Crosstrek, and the low beam is an H11. Let's spin this around and see what the install process is. Here we have our H11 slot. We find our largest tab, which is this one here. Push in and twist, and the bulb is installed. We can then take our connectors off. There we go. Grab our electrical connector here. Make sure I double check my positive and negative, and it simply clips into the factory harness. I'm going to disconnect that for now, and let me hook it back up to the power supply, and we'll take a quick look at the beam pattern here, and then we'll shoot over to the wall. Now that we have the bulb installed in the reflector housing, let's take a look at the short throw distance. You can see at a short 2.5 foot distance we get a fairly cloudy light with actually very limited dark spots. let's move over to the wall and see what that looks like. Here we are in my basement. I haven't had an opportunity to set up a proper rig for our lights, but we are currently lined up with this support beam, which is 4 meters from the wall. As you can see, our reflector housing does give us a nice cutoff across the top, but the left and right edges drop off significantly. Let's switch it over to our projector housing. The next housing we'll be taking a look at is this one from a Toyota Camry. It is a projector style low beam, and it also uses an H11 bulb. Once again, we find our tabs. Line up our largest tab, push in and twist, and the bulb is installed. Then we connect our harness up to the factory harness. Alright, let's move this out of the way. Pull the camera back again and see what the projection beam pattern looks like. Here you can see at the short distance we once again have a slightly muddled beam, but this one does give us a sharper top line. We have a very hot spot in the center with some dimmer spots on the sides. Not sure if I should point with my shadow or with my finger. Alright, let's bring this over to the wall and take a look there. We now have the bulb installed in our projector housing. Once again, lined up with that support beam. And as you can see, we have a little bit of a discrepancy in the beam pattern. We have a real hot spot in the center that both waves up at each end and has a significant drop off across the bottom. In my opinion, this bulb does not do a great job creating a beam pattern in either housing. We're back in the recording booth for our conclusion. Easy Eagle LEDs. Are they any good? Well, they are not the 16,000 lumen that they claim. However, they are brighter than halogen. They are cost effective. I will put a link in the description below. They are available on Amazon if you'd like to get them for yourself. Thermally, they did get warm, but not to a point that I would consider overwhelming or dangerous to the chips. I believe they will have a decent longevity. They're not too loud. The only drawback is that they have a less than ideal beam pattern. In any case, that's all I have for today's video. If you found the information I provided useful in any way, or enjoyed the video at all, do me a favor and hit that like button so I know I'm doing alright. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down in the comment section below. I love hearing from you guys. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, consider doing so. It really helps me out. And until next time, I'm James the Light Guy.